Hey everyone. I just want to do a quick demo here. Um, I got a stack of papers, and I like working on cheap uh, paper, like copy paper. This is why you draw on newsprint, because newsprint is cheap, and when you're trying to become good, you don't want to use your best materials. Also, I am right-handed, so I will be doing my demo as a right hand, but obviously if you're left-handed, you can do it the opposite of what I'm doing. Um, I take off my watch typically because I want to be comfortable, and part of being comfortable is the angle. Now you see the setup of my desk. This is like how everything is straight. Doing this with my hand is awkward. It's more comfortable if I turn the paper this way, just because it just feels better. Now, when we draw, we're using the different joints of our hands. So if we're drawing small, we use our fingers. And let me adjust the camera so that we are a little better here. When we're drawing small, um, you can do a curve like with your fingers, and you can get consistent. You want to be able to make lines that are all pretty close to each other. So that's just the fingers. Now, if I were to incorporate my wrist, see that arc? It's light. Can you see how similar those lines are to each other? You know, being able to understand how to make those marks, or even in the opposite way, going this way. See how the lines look like each other? You want to also be able to get comfortable using your elbow. Can't see my elbow, but I am using the arc of my elbow. So if I they're pretty close. Having control of your hand, your arm, and your shoulder for really big drawings on big paper is important, okay? So understanding the arc of your hand is important. The other important thing in drawing perspective is being able to draw straight lines. And this is just an exercise that you can all do. I'm going to put a dot like right here in the middle of the page, and then I'm going to, let's say I'll do one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. And the idea is I can see the distance between these two. A straight line is what we're going for here, and just doing this is not even quite straight, but I want to be able to draw straight lines without a ruler, because once you bust out the ruler, that takes time and it makes you slower. So if you can get to the point where you can look at a dot and shoot that line from one point to the other point just by aiming. So this one I was off. Can you see? I missed. But I can keep trying to hit that line. Looks like I'm dialing it in and I'm pressing it on the paper. I'll try this one. A little high. There. Then this one here. And this one here. you can see I'm hitting these in with fewer tries. You know, this one like warm up. Plus I was pressing on the paper and it probably dented, so I'm following the path of the first mark where I missed. Just made a dot and drew a line through it. Now, you want to be able to do this pretty consistently. Yeah, that's close. This exercise is not meant to do anything other than sharpen the relationship between your mind, your brain, and your hand. Okay? As long as you can get to the point where you don't have to worry about the connection between your brain and your hand, you just know that your hand will obey. That's the point of this exercise. So just find a piece of paper, right? Put a dot in the middle, and then put a bunch of dots around the outside, however many you want. Like, you could generate this in Illustrator and do 100 of them and just practice. And I'm trying not to let the clip on the pen hit my hand, so I'm rotating it so it doesn't throw me off. But and it's just a quick flick. And you all should be able to do that. But I'm not going to make you do it and grade you on it. I just want you to understand that you can become faster at drawing if you just start by getting the energy of the line. I missed on this last one. But you can generate boxes very quickly. Okay? When you can start generating boxes, you can start creating buildings. And I'm just flicking as I'm going along. And I'm just trying to also move through the line, not stop, because it's awkward to say this is one corner of the building, this is the other corner of the building, and I'm going to stop. Because you have to slow down your line, and it starts to get a little shaky. But if you were to fill up a whole page full of boxes like this, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and have the box feel like it's in perspective, that's an important skill to have. Now, the other thing too is that you want to get to the point where you can draw ellipses in these boxes. And I hope I can show this. What you do is you draw a line through the midpoint of each of these edges of the box, and then you just draw a curve between that point. And I haven't done this in a while. See, there's a circle inside that box. Repeat on the other sides. Try to make that curve. And these aren't circles, these are what are called ellipses, meaning there's a long axis and there's a short axis. And I am doing the points just to show you all how the curve should look. But there's a long axis and there's a short axis for the ellipse. And the axis should be parallel. This line, and this line should all feel parallel. If they're not literally parallel, they should all also be going towards the same vanishing point. And sometimes parts of my initial curve has gotten it offset, but drawing ellipses inside of boxes and doing it really slow so that you fit it in correctly is the easy way to not make mistakes. And here my fingers were covering up this line right here. That's why I missed. So you want to be able to see and feel the I'm off. But again, I haven't done this practice since school. Just make boxes after boxes after boxes. That one's off. Just draw an ellipse. And you should be trying to feel like it's inside here. There are other methods too, where you might have a circle, something that's closer. That's not quite a circle, but if this were a cylinder, barely on. If this was a cylinder, you could be drawing like this, right? And all of these curves are edges of an ellipse that should feel pretty parallel. They don't necessarily need to be equally spaced. I apologize, my hand is covering up the drawing as I'm making it. But, you know, you can just draw two lines and just continually try to make an ellipse and hit both edges. I'm off, man. I am rusty. Now, one of the important things to notice is that I'm drawing it in one line. I don't want to see people drawing ellipses, you know, like all hairy with multiple tries. I want to try to get you all, and again, you don't have to do this. This is just exercise for your own benefit. I want you all to start drawing with just a single line and try and get it right. Because when you do something like this, where you're drawing and you keep doing this, you're hoping the viewer's eye will choose the line that's correct so that you don't have to actually say it. But if you draw with one line, it immediately conveys that you know what you're doing. Some people also do this, like if they're drawing a box, like right here, they'll make what I call a hairy line. So if this is the corners of the square plane in perspective, they'll do this. Lots of lines don't make it better. it just makes it hairy and busy. I mean, it's more skillful to get to the practice where you can just draw straight lines. And with regard to making ellipses, instead of doing this hairy line thing, move with your pen over the paper until you feel that you've got it, and then make contact with the paper. You know, that's how you, it's like a swing in golf, right? You have your practice swings, and once you feel it, there we go, that's better. Once you feel it, you can draw an ellipse with just one line, not a hairy ellipse where you hope the viewer will choose the correct line because it's in there somewhere, right? This just takes some skill and time and practice. Anyone can do what I'm doing on this page, but it just takes a little bit of time to get your brain and your hand and sharpen that connection. You want your hand to obey. Okay? So this is just a little bit of practice for y'all's benefit. I hope you can see the value of being able to create objects in perspective with straight lines, because it just simply looks more masterful, you know? Next video will be discussing how to apply this.